DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. This is Q&A number 75. I do this every week here on this channel where I respond to the comments from the previous week's Q&A. You got a question you want me to answer, you leave it in the comments to this video, and I'll get to it next week. One question per person. Don't respond to anybody else's question, even if you think you know the answer, because you don't. Now, let's get straight into it without any time wasted. First question is from Kendrick Lemire. It says, when's the last time you lost a one-on-one game? Probably sometime last year. I haven't played that much one-on-one this year, so probably sometime last year. Yvonne98 says, what size shoes do you wear? I wear a size 13. Juan Ruiz says, has anyone ever broke you during the game or vice versa? Just wondering. I guess by break you, that means like somebody cross you over and make you fall or something like that. We all got different lingo depending on where you're from as far as how we describe moves. Yeah, sure. Like when I was growing up playing street ball, everybody gets crossed over. Have I ever crossed somebody over and made them fall and things like that? Yes, of course. Lovro says, how can I make a protein shake without whey protein? Get a type of protein that's not whey protein. There are different types of proteins. You can look up organic or vegan protein and they don't have whey in it. Oisin says, I'm 15 years old. I'm a point guard. I'm 6 feet tall from Ireland. And that place is not known for basketball. He thinks he can play overseas. Now, by overseas, do you mean in America or do you mean in Europe? Because technically, coming from Ireland, you wouldn't have to go over the sea to get there. But anyway, I want to know what level I should be at, i.e., how many points, dimes, rebounds, etc. should I be getting in a game? There is no answer to that. There is no amount that you should be getting. You have to decide what you should do. Nobody else can tell you what you should be doing. So you're asking, like, if you want to go pro, what type of stats should you have right now? Listen, there are people who at your age were averaging 2 points a game and went pro. And there are people at your age who are averaging 30 and didn't go pro. So it's not about you having to get a certain amount of stats that, quote unquote, makes you prepared or means that you're ready or means that you're going to be the guy. It's about what you do now and in the future, not about your certain stats that you need to hit. There's no standard that guarantees your success or failure. Peter says, can you share a story about a physical fight you've been in on or off the court? Maybe. Not in this video. I'm Complex says, can you do the ultimate athlete and jump manual at the same time? Yes, you can, but should you? No, because you probably overtrain and you wouldn't get the maximum results from either program if you try to do both at once. Riley says, what car do you have? Same car of Fred Flintstone. If you ever seen that cartoon, same one. It looks just like it. Measly Parrot says, I'm 12 years old. I practice a lot, but I don't live close to a gym. So I have to get to school at 7 o'clock and practice for an hour. Should I do that every day? I don't know. You got to decide what you should do every day. You want me to tell you what to do every day? You can work on your game. So you can figure out how you need to do that as far as the schedule and the locations and the times. You figure it out. You're smart enough. You know how to count. You know how long it takes you to get from point A to point B and what your responsibilities are. Way better than I do, so figure it out. Bao Pam says, have you ever had your ankle broken? Well, somebody already asked that. James said, I played basketball and football in 7th and 8th grade. I'm pretty good at both. In 9th grade, I only played football. I'm pretty good at football, but I want to show that I'm good at basketball. I want to try out for the team my 10th grade year, which is coming up. So he says, if I try out and I make the team, would I have a chance of doing something big as far as basketball, or would I be just wasting my time? That's not for me to answer, James. I can't determine whether you have the capability of doing something big, but you know whether you can do something big. So if I was to sit here and say, oh, you absolutely can, and then you don't, does that mean it's my fault for giving you wrong information? Or if I tell you that you can't, does that mean you're going to quit because I just told you that you can't? You got to decide what you're capable of. I don't tell anybody what they can do or what their potential are or what their chances are of accomplishing anything. You as an individual, you decide what your chances are of success. Nobody else. Jamari Reed says, I could have said James Harden. I don't know what he's talking about. Ike Otakpor says, my name's Ike. I'm going on a senior year. I don't have any offers. I guess he means scholarships. I'm an okay player. My best traits are that I can pass and I play defense. So his question is, next year is a big year for my team because we're favored to win the city. My teammates know that, but I can't motivate them to train or practice. What should I do? And he also asks, I'm not the most skilled player, but I have the highest IQ and work ethic. and I can dominate on my team next year. I feel like no one's up to my level, so my teammates aren't working hard. Should I just take over? Well, Ike, here's the thing. First, you just said that you're an okay player, but then you said that your teammates are not up to your level, but you're favored to win the city title. So those three things don't match up. So if you're an okay player and you're the best player, how y'all gonna win the city title? Is it just that weak of a league that a team led by an okay player can win the championship? I don't know. That just doesn't add up to me. And as far as you not having any offers, well, he didn't actually ask anything about the offers, so I don't know why he mentioned that. But anyway, he says he can't motivate his teammates. You're not supposed to motivate your teammates. You set the example as the leader by doing what you're supposed to do and let them follow you. If they don't follow, that's their problem. But you can't make another person do anything. You can't make somebody want to go practice or work on their game. You set the standard by what you do every single day, not by talking, but by actually doing it, and they'll follow. If they don't, then they don't follow. You can't make another person do anything. You can to a certain extent, but eventually they're going to do what they want to do. If you're the leader, as you say, they will follow your example because people follow the example of leaders. So if you're a leader, you can set the example. If you're the leader that you say you are, you set the example by your actions, and they will eventually follow you. Harris says, any tips for a 5'11", 150-pound man who wants to play basketball overseas? What type of game will I need to have? You need to have a game of a player who can play. There's no type of game. It's not like I can say, oh, you need to be able to do this crossover and make a shot from this far and shoot this percentage again. It's not about it's not about a certain trait that you need to have. You need to be able to play. When you get into a situation where you have an opportunity to play at the level that you want to play at, whether that be, he says, overseas, then you got to go out there and prove that you can do it. And you need to be prepared, which means you need to work on your game so you have skill. There's no point where any player can just stop working on their game if you plan on continuing to compete in the game. So you just got to keep working. When you get to the next place you're going, you got to prove that you're one of the best players there or the best player there. Then the next place you do the same thing, then the next place, the next place, the next place. There's never a point where you're not going to have to keep proving yourself. So there is no what type of game a player needs to have. You just got to be able to play. Can you play? If you have to ask, if somebody has to ask themselves if they can play, they probably can't. So you need to get yourself to the level where that's not even a question. Drew says, would I take Steve Nash or Allen Iverson to start a team? I would take Allen Iverson. Unanimous says, what player do you model your game after the most? I don't model my game after any player. Antoine's WOYG says, well, I see faster results if I work on different parts of my game every day per day. For example, on Mondays, if I do posts, Tuesdays, I'll do ball handling, Wednesdays, conditioning, etc., etc. I don't know. Why don't you go and do it and find out? I mean, if you're working on your game every day and you posted this question 5 days ago, what'd you do the last 5 days? What were the results? Is that working for you or is it not? If it is, keep doing it. If it's not, change your approach until you find what works for you. Mr. Underdog says, are you still accepting mentorships from people? No, I'm not. If I'm going to do anything else like that, I'll announce it. But until then, nothing new to report. Brett says, were or are you into other sports other than basketball? As far as playing other sports, no. Basketball is the only sport that I would play. As far as watching, I mean, I know what's going on in football, but I don't know it as well as basketball. I know what's going on in baseball, or a little bit of what's going on in baseball. But other than that, I don't really follow any other sports. Basketball is the only one I know really well, where I know most of the players and things like that. Football, I know a few. Baseball, hardly any. Ryan Allen says, what's the best overseas team you played on? As far as my experience, I'd say my team in Montenegro, Herceg-Novi. James says, which NBA player do you think has the best work ethic of all time? I don't know. It's hard to say from the outside looking in on who has a great work ethic. The only way you know somebody's work ethic is to actually work with them, to be at the same job as that person and see what they're doing every single day. It's one thing when everybody hears, like, anecdotally, oh, Kobe does this and Kobe does that and Michael Jordan this and Derrick Rose that and this player and that player. We only hear what gets put out there. So there are players out there who probably work really hard and have a great work ethic who nobody really talks about them because they might not even be the superstar player. There's probably somebody who's a role player who has to work seriously hard just to keep their job. The superstars like that, they have a lot of talent. And let's sugarcoat it. They have a lot of talent. They're going to have an opportunity no matter what. Not to say that they don't work hard, but we don't really know. We only can go off the stories that we hear. Of course, we hear stories about certain guys. Oh, this guy works so hard, and he's always in the gym, and he's the hardest working guy on the team, etc., etc. Not to say that they're not, but again, we only hear it from the outside looking in. There's a whole other thing when you're at work, at the same job as another person, and you actually see with your own two eyes what they're doing behind closed doors when nobody's reporting on it or tweeting about it or writing stories about their hard work. That's when you really find out how somebody's work ethic really is. So my answer to that is we don't know because we don't know, if that makes sense. Jackson says, I'm going into my freshman year of high school. I want to be as good as I can be for my first year. For practice purposes, do I suggest he does the same workout every day or a different workout every day and then repeat every week? I don't know. Just put in the work. If you're looking for a program, I have programs at hoophandbook.com. But other than that, as far as what you're going to do outside of that, you need to figure it out. Go to the court, start working, see what results you're getting. If it's working, keep doing it. If not, change your approach. Fabian says, what do I think is practicing at game speed? I've already addressed that in a full video, so just search my name and the phrase game speed and you'll see it. Tate says, for those who struggle with the mental part of the game like me, such as thinking too much, he says, I could say WOYB, which means work on your brain. So anyway, his question is, if you could change one thing in your basketball career from the beginning to now, what would it be? I wouldn't change anything, because if I changed something, I probably wouldn't be here now, because if I changed anything 10 years ago, then that would change everything that happened since, and it might not even have ended up in the same outcome. So I wouldn't change anything. Everything that happened exactly as it should have, and everything that's going to happen in the future is going to happen exactly as it should. FYM Rob says, do you believe if Grant Hill continued to play the way he was before his injury, that he would have been one of the greatest of all time? I don't know. It's hard to say. He would have had to actually have had some accomplishments to be called the greatest of all time. Certain accomplishments. He had accomplishments, but he would have had to have certain accomplishments. And being that he got injured and didn't get a chance to get them, we'll never know. Elias says, when you played overseas, you played for a big name team like Spain or a small market team? Did they pay good? Well, Spain is not a team. Spain is a country. And they have a national team, but you had to be you had to have a Spanish passport to play for a team. To play for Team Spain. So I didn't play for Team Spain. I didn't play for Team any country because I'm American. I got an American passport. So that's not even how overseas basketball works. So Elias, you should probably go to my guides and tips page and read the description of me explaining how overseas basketball works, because you sound like most people who don't have a clear understanding of how the business of it works and how the basketball works at the same time. Mr. Mitchell says, I can shoot the ball really well. I want to get one of his signature workouts. I just need help creating space and being quicker. Which workout should I buy to improve my game? I'll go with Kyrie Irving and Stephen Curry or Allen Iverson. One of those three. Penn Stickle says, I've been working on my game for years. I'm 5'6". I'm in 8th grade. I'm about to be in 9th grade. I want to be a complete player. When I'm at the gym or at the park alone, I can make tons of shots outside at the park or on the basketball team, which is not good. I want to get a quicker release, but I can't make any shots. I don't know why, but it's frustrating. I tried a lot of shooting forms, but I can't make them. I want to have a quicker release, and people I'm playing against are taller and at the park. What should I do now? What you should do is keep practicing until you get it right. Next, Mr. Steve Blazer says, I realize when I'm playing the game, whether it's in the gym or with friends, I start making shots. I was wondering, it seems my mind's different in these games. How do I find my mindset to always play like this? Or should I try to think about something to get me confident? Well, you kind of answered your own question. Whatever mindset you're in when you're playing well, recreate that mindset in all your games, and you'll probably play at that high level, as long as you, at the same time, keep practicing and keep improving your skills. Raptors Express says, what current NBA player do you think has the nicest looking jumper? I would say nicest looking jumper is the jumper that goes in the most, so I guess that'd be Stephen Curry. Sue Jackson says, I'm going to high school. This is my 9th grade. Same grade I'm going to that I'm already playing on varsity. He said, I'm going to high school. This is 9th grader, same grade I'm going to is already playing on varsity. He's not that much better than me. How do I get my coach to see my game? So that question doesn't grammatically make sense, but the question is, how do I get my coach to see my game? You want your coach to see your game, go to tryouts and show it. That's the way you get the coach to see your game. If you have some game to show. So first of all, you got to have some game. And then when it's time to show it, you go show it. That's it. Dominique Pereira, I responded to this. I don't know why. But he said, I responded in writing. He said, would I recommend the ultimate athlete and the vertical jump for a young kid like him? Would it help him lose some bad weight and fat? By the way, he's 14 years old. Yes, you can do the ultimate athlete and the vertical jump handbook, but not at the same time, one at a time. Joe Kubas said, I just turned 14 years old. Should I train as hard as I can every day? Well, if you want to, your age doesn't really matter to me. As far as your training goes, listen to your body at all times. I tell people that at every age level. You have to listen to your body. When your body needs rest, give it rest. If it needs water, if it needs ice, if you need food, if you need sleep, you give your body what it's asking you for. It tells you exactly what it wants. So if you don't listen and then you mess up, then it's your fault. And even if you're age 14, you're smart enough to understand that. Andrew Hinton says, have you ever been on an advertisement or a poster? Because I'm at Finish Line, I saw that poster. There was a dude that looked just like you. Yeah, I was in that Finish Line poster. I've been on some advertisements. People have sent to me and told me that they've seen stuff. So yes, the Finish Line thing, I was in it. That was me, Fomer Simpson, Nightwing, and Jay Jones from Kick Genius. Wes Cunningham says, why does the subscriber count not appear on your page? I don't know. It's one of the great mysteries of YouTube. Yoel Gide says, I don't have a question, but I want to say Dre bring the championship back to Team WOYG. He's referring to the TBT $1 million tournament. Y'all don't know about that? Go to dreallday.com/TBT. Stands for The Basketball Tournament. He said he read on Bleacher Report there's a bunch of former NBA players playing in the tournament. Good luck. Make a statement out there. Maybe people were thinking that you should have been in the NBA. Well, we're going to have fun at TBT. That's next July. It's about 35 or so days from now. It's going to be in Philadelphia. It will be live streamed online. I will have a separate video talking about that when the time comes. Eric Hasselhorn, and thank you, Yoel. Eric says, I got a problem with my left knee. I want to buy a jump manual to increase my vertical. So I wonder, is my knee going to get worse because of the manual? Well, if you got a problem with your knee, you need to see a doctor. You don't need to be asking for advice from nobody on YouTube, even me, because I'm not a physician. I'm not certified to answer that question. So if there's something wrong with your knee, you need to see a someone who's licensed and does that for a living, takes a look at people's knees. Because if you mess up your knees, you'll be done with basketball, period. Forget the jump manual. Just forget basketball as it is. So go see a doctor. Brandon says, if you had to choose between John Wall and Gilbert Arenas to be point guard of your team, who would you go with? Well, I guess he means like prime Gilbert Arenas or John Wall. I'll go with Gilbert Arenas. C. Joy Dempsey says, can you make a video about the shoes you're wearing? Thanks for all the videos. Eventually I will. Maybe one day I'll grab all my shoes and make a video and talk about them. But I don't really have that much opinion about shoes. I'm not a big shoe fanatic. Like I know a lot of you are. I know shoes is a big thing these days, even socks. I'm not big into that stuff. I mean, I got shoes because that's what you need to play. But I don't really look at shoes like this shoe is a better performing shoe. I think my theory is if you can play, you can play. And if you can't, you can't. Don't matter what you got on. I mean, as long as they're made for what you're doing. Johnny Football says, have you ever played in the Drew League? No, I've not played in the Drew League. I live in Miami, and the Drew League is in Los Angeles. Next, Javier says, every time I put something in my mind, for example, like if I think about wanting to drive more in the game, but when I'm in the game, I forget everything and I pass. How do I get my mindset to stop being nervous? How do I play normally like I do in practice? I've had a problem with this for a long time. And I, for some reason, typed in the answer to this. I said, find a mindset where you play your best and practice recreating that frame of mind. That's pretty much all it is. There's not anything there's no magic formula to it. All you got to do is figure out when you're playing at your highest level, what is it you were doing when you played at your highest level? What were you thinking about? What were the triggers? Did you listen to a certain song? Did you look at a picture? Did somebody say something to you? And then you had to recreate that frame of mind on call. So you had to practice that. It's part of working on your game. Same way you work on your physical game, you got to work on your mental game. Chancellor says, I'm going into my senior year and I lettered all of my 3 previous years. I guess that means that he was on the team. But I've never gotten any major amount of playing time. I've always been more of a baseball player, but I love basketball. My dad offered me to move with him so he can go to a different high school. Their school is not as good as the school he was at, and he has no doubt that he could start. and he's not worried about playing basketball at the next level because he's going to a college to play baseball. So this is pretty much the end of his basketball road, it seems to me, what he's saying. But he's curious as to what I would do. Should he stay there and play? Should he stay at his old school playing half the games and not be significant? Or should he go somewhere where he can play and have some fun his senior year? Sorry for the long question. I guess I was just kind of venting. Well, Chancellor, it sounds to me like your future is in baseball. So why don't you make the decision based on what's best for your baseball future, since you're not going anywhere in basketball anyway? If your future is baseball, why don't you go to the school that has a better baseball program and a program that'll set you up better for baseball? And I don't know what your situation is as far as your living, but you also have to consider that, because basketball and baseball are a small portion of your day. You still got to live the rest of your life wherever you choose to live, whether that be where you're at or if you move with your dad. So consider other things besides just basketball. I understand it would be fun to play basketball. You could also just try harder where you're at, maybe get more playing time as a senior. So there's a few things that you need to consider that I don't have that information, so I can't tell you exactly what to do, but you should consider those things in your decision. Don't make it just about basketball, since basketball is probably the least significant when you consider baseball and your family life, because those things you're going to have for the future, where basketball is only one more year. Awesome kid says, I'm having trouble being consistent when I play basketball. One day I'm the best and the next day I'm the worst. How can I build more consistency? Well, you got to practice more. If you're not consistent in your performance, that means your game is not consistent. You're not consistent in your training. You need to train more, practice more, so that your game becomes consistent. KCI says, is it good to change up your drill every day or focus on one drill for a good amount of time? Well, I can't quantify what you mean by good. You had to define what you mean by good. If you're talking about getting results, it's the same thing I've said multiple times already in this video. If what you're doing is working, is getting you the results that you want, which is something that you need to define, then you keep doing it. If it's not getting you the results that you want, then change it and do something else. So since you are giving me options, try both of them, see which one's working, and keep doing that one. If neither one works, then try something else. Falconier says, when you're in the NBA, will you stop making YouTube videos? Never forget about your homies. No, I will not stop making YouTube videos. I will always make YouTube videos, whether I play in the NBA, whether I play overseas, whether I don't play basketball at all. I will still make YouTube videos. Take Flight 23 says, can you explain how you go through your workouts when you first get to the gym? How do you warm up, and what drills do you do daily to improve your overall game? That's a ridiculous question, since you're talking to a guy who's posted 4,000 videos of workouts on his channel. So if you want to know what I do, watch my videos. That's why I make them. Marcus Wheatley says, how do I increase my handles in the paint? Well, you don't increase handles. You improve your handles. You increase your bench press, because it's a number. Handles isn't a number. There isn't a measure of handles. It's an ability. So you improve your ability with your ball handling. So what you do is work on your ball handling. Whatever it is you're having a problem with, or whatever it is you want to get better at, start practicing that thing. And you have to figure out, first of all, you need to know exactly what it is. Increase my handles in the paint is not, that doesn't even make sense to me. So I need to figure out, I don't need to figure out, you need to figure out what it is you need to do. What is it that you want to do exactly? You need to be specific about it. And then once you figure that out, you go to my channel and you search for that exact thing, and I guarantee you I already have videos on it. Or you can go to hoophandbook.com. Actually, I should say, and you can go to hoophandbook.com. Look up the program of a player who does that thing at a very high level, whatever it is you're thinking about, because you know those players. Whoever does that thing at a very high level, and get that player's signature workout program. Clinton Bear, do you think it's necessary to always square your feet and point your feet to the rim on a jump shot? No, I don't really care about that stuff. I don't even think about that when I'm shooting a shot. I just shoot the ball. I don't think about, is it square? I don't think about pointing my feet, all the other stuff that people talk about. I don't think about none of that. I just shoot the ball. So do I think it's necessary? No. Elias, last question. So who do you think is a better point guard, Mario Chalmers or Steph Curry? Oh, that's an easy one, Mario Chalmers. No, Steph Curry is the better point guard. So that's it. Thank you, everybody, for the questions for this week's Q&A. Keep coming with thoughtful questions. Remember, I only answer one question per person. So if you post more than one, I'm ignoring your second question. So make your first question your only question, and make it a good question. Work on your fucking game. DreAllDay.com.
Checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here. And make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day.